Going to be a juicy conversation today, and it always is with us on a Monday, but I'm looking forward to this one. So happy Monday to you and to everyone else that's joining us.
Happy Monday, happy Monday. So just a quick intro, if you haven't joined us before, if you're new to us here, if you're somehow we've appeared in your feed and you're like, who are these two? Let's just have a quick intro. So I'm Sarah Bramall, joined by my lovely partner and co-founder of the Coaching Catalyst, Rebecca Daniel. Both of us are ICF accredited coaches. We're both coach trainers for lead coach training organizations. We're both coach supervisors, NLP practitioners, DISC practitioners, and former ex-teachers with a combination of 30 years teaching and leadership experience in between us, ranging from just over a year, little Tobias is just over a year, up to my eldest, who is 15, turning 16. So we've got the whole range of kid life going on also.
God, I forgot that the eldest Bramall is almost 16. Yeah, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
1 to 16. What a dynamic.
What a dynamic. It's all going on here, right? So those of you who've got kids or maybe who are teachers who might be joining us, it's all going on here in this last week of term leading up to the summer holidays. And I know for some of you as well, your kids have already finished. You're already into that summer holiday time. Oh, lovely, Daniela. So Daniela, I know, let me just tell you about Daniela, Rebecca. So first of all, Daniela, we didn't connect through the Coaching Academy, but Daniela has come from the Coaching Academy. But we very randomly ended up sitting next to each other at Stephen Bartlett's Diary of a CEO Live, I think it was last year, and we got chatting. And as we got chatting, we were like, oh, wow, actually, we have this commonality of our backgrounds in the Coaching Academy in common. So really, really lovely that you're joining us today, Daniela. Lovely to see you. And I know that you've got kids as well, haven't you, about to go on holiday? So let us know how you're doing. We'd love to hear. Okay, so professional development for coaches. Where do we even start?
I don't even know where to begin on this one. And this is why we said it's going to be a juicy topic, because people question, what does that even mean when we talk about professional development for coaches? Does it mean formal training? Does it mean continuing professional development? Like, for us, it's all of that. And something that Sarah and I are very passionate about is because we've both got backgrounds in the education sector, learning, development, continuing learning and development is part of something that we really do respect and we value. And we encourage other coaches as well to engage in some sort of professional development practice, whatever that may be. So where do we start? Maybe a definition, Sarah? What would you say?
It's a really interesting one, isn't it? Because learning and growth, as Rebecca says, is really, really important to us, particularly as ex-teachers. You know, in teaching, we talk about equipping children to be lifelong learners. And I would say that Rebecca and I 100% are lifelong learners. And of course, when we're with coaches, when we're working with clients, they've come to us because they want to make some kind of change. And that change is going to involve some learning and some growth. So in terms of how to define it, it's about that continual process, I think, of improvement. And yes, that's about our knowledge and understanding and refining our practices as coaches and, you know, aligning to the competencies. That's always a work in progress. But alongside that comes the personal development as well of, stretching ourselves, working on ourselves, looking at how we're stepping out of our comfort zone, looking at how we're showing up, how we're interacting with others. So I think we've entitled this live professional development, but actually I don't think you can separate the professional from the personal.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. I totally agree on that. I think they go side by side, hand in hand. And I actually do think that we need to work on the personal growth in order to access the professional development part as well. Because if we are, if we're not as resilient as we could be, if we don't have that growth mindset, if we don't have that openness to change and to insight, then that will really impact on that professional journey that we embark on, whatever that may be. So yeah, this is a personal and professional development chat today with you guys.
It absolutely is. So I think with the personal development, I think we can take ourselves so far with that. So you can see the vision boards on the wall behind me. So from the very, very beginning of my coaching practice, all of the tools that I was sharing with clients, and same for Rebecca, we were using ourselves to help us with our mindset, to help us with our personal development. So things like vision boarding and journaling and using affirmations and all of that great stuff, the wheel of life, all of those great tools that we use with clients. I think it's really important that we're using those on ourselves as well, so that we're reflecting and that we're growing. And I think that's a really big part of the puzzle, alongside reading, listening to podcasts, just, continually sort of feeding our minds with that learning and that growth. So I think that's part one, but I think it goes beyond that as well.
And for me, in addition to the vision board and everything else, I really did explore and continue to explore what's important to me. So looking at the exploration of my values and also my needs is part of that professional that personal development work that I do on myself. And I know that Sarah does that too. So then when we step into professional development for coaches, what does that look like? And obviously, Sarah and I are both coach supervisors. We're both coach trainers as well as being coaches. So professional development is very much a part of what we do in our day in, day out work as part of the Catalyst, but also individually as well in our coach training roles. So people often ask, do I have to invest in order to embark on some form of professional development? And we're here to reassure you that you don't have to always invest financially, but actually you do have to invest in terms of your time, in terms of your energy. So there are various different routes that you can go down when you're thinking about, what do I need to become the best coach that I can be for myself, for my clients? What do I need so that I can continue to learn and grow? That could be a formal course or a formal training. But as Sarah said at the beginning as well, it could also be that you invest in your time and listen to a podcast. So Sarah and I both have been listening to supervision podcasts over the last few weeks, haven't we? Which one have you been listening to?
So one I really like is called Unlocking the Lid on Coaching Supervision. And I'm also listening to the Coaching Crowd as well at the moment.
And I've been listening to an Animas podcast with Yannick.
With Yannick, yes.
Yeah, and that's been really great. And I'll probably tag those people in here as well to shout out to those for creating such great resources, because I sometimes listen to it when I am washing up or when I'm doing the laundry or at the gym on the treadmill. And they're really great bite-sized tools for us to embark on that professional journey, that professional development, whilst also not having to spend financially as well.
Yeah. And I think with the question around financials, I agree with you, Rebecca. I think we can do a lot for ourselves independently. And I do think it's necessary to continue to invest in ourselves financially also, as we have both done, but perhaps with some caveats. So when I finished my initial coaching training, which was excellent, I knew that I wasn't done. And I did go on then to do another diploma in coaching and education, and then to study NLP. And I know you had studied NLP sort of previously. also invested in supervision from the very, very beginning. And actually, that was incredibly important to my professional and personal growth because I was in group supervision from the beginning and I learned so much from the wisdom and the knowledge of the other people in the group supervision who were all further ahead than I was. So I had to work on my imposter syndrome a bit to show up in that space and not to kind of want to hide and think, oh, I don't deserve to be here because I don't know enough. I was glad that I had the courage to do that and to invest in that because that was a massive learning sort of place for me to be in.
Yeah, and who is it that says if you're in the room with people where you're the smartest person and you're in the wrong room? Was that Shah Osmond?
Shah says that a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
And she's spot on, yeah. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. I love that. I always come back to that. I'm like, it's very, very true.
So I often try to put myself in a room where I'm not the smartest person in the room, which is quite often actually, because I like that level of uncomfortability. I actually do thrive from knowing, oh my God, I'm in a space where I can continue to learn and grow and be better. And it helps me to have a different perspective as well. And that's the beauty of supervision, is because I always say to my groups that I'm facilitating that just because I'm the facilitator doesn't necessarily mean that I know it all. Like, I'm here and love the fact that I can continue to learn and grow from the coaches that are in the room, as well as me sharing some insights and supporting them in their coaching journey too.
I think you make a really important point there, Rebecca, when you talk about that uncomfortability, because for me, that's what learning and growth involves, is being courageous and being prepared to put ourselves in a position where it feels a bit uncertain and a bit uncomfortable. And when I'm in that place of like, okay, I don't know this feels a bit uncertain, should I be, all of those things coming up, I'm like, yeah, this is a sign of growth. So that's really important. But I want to add to that as well, because something I see a lot with friends, clients, other coaches is that whole mindset around, but when I've done this course, then I will be good enough to promote my business, to get out there and really start coaching, to do whatever it is. And I think we have to be really, really careful about that as well, that we're not using the next course, the next investment as that kind of ticket to being good enough, because we've got to believe in our value before that. And yes, continue to learn and grow.
Yeah, and let's share, because we're always very transparent, right? We caught ourselves in this trap a week ago because we were embarking on doing something as a partnership and we were thinking, oh, maybe we needed X, Y, and Z. And then we were like, whoa, stop, catch the thought, explore what's going on there. And combined, we knew that actually we had the skills, we have the ability, and we just need to continue pushing through that. So even though you may see people that are doing things, just know that we all go on that journey of self-doubt. Like, we all experience that level of uncomfortability. And as Sarah said, it's just about going back to knowing that we actually sometimes do have the tools. Sometimes we may need to ask for support and engage in a mentor or a supervision group or, our peers around us. But actually, sometimes we also do hold the answers as well.
Okay. So if we were going to invest in professional development, where do you think the areas would be or how do you make that decision about whether or not to invest in something?
Oh, that's really good.
It's a tricky question, isn't it? Sorry, I'm always asking.
No, I love this though. Where? So, okay. So I'm a processor. Sometimes I can be spontaneous, but it's very rarely that I do. So I think about, what am I looking for that X, Y, and Z may give me? Do I have the tools that I need to ensure that I can get to where I need to be? So I have to have a look at what I already have in my toolkit, but also who I have around me as well in my community. And if I don't have those answers, then I'm most likely to invest in something. And it could be that I want to learn more around neuroscience, right? So that's something that I'm looking at. Neuroscience and positive psychology, the two areas. I don't have that in my toolkit to the level that I would like it to be. So I feel like I have a basic knowledge and understanding, but I really do want to go in depth in that maybe in 2024. I do know people around me that can continue to have those discussions and conversations with me. But actually, if I really want to be, and I wouldn't say an expert, but if I really want to be confident and knowledgeable, I know I may need to dedicate more time, more money into being, that level of expertise in that area that I want to. So I take my time. I always dip into my toolkit first of all. I always look at what's it going to give me as well? Like, what am I seeking for? What's that outcome? And then that's when I make my decision.
I think that's really, really good advice.
And what about you?
Well, something that I just wanted to sort of speak to, because I'm, again, as ever, conscious of time, but something I wanted to speak to was when we hosted our collective meetup last week. One of the things that we sort of both heard, I think, was how when coaches were newly qualified, they found that all of a sudden they were subjected to a lot of marketing about how you need to be investing in this, investing in that, and how they found it really, really overwhelming. So just wanted to speak to that a little bit as well, because, we're focusing here. And of course, Rebecca and I, we're coach trainers, we're supervisors, we're very sort of invested in the professional learning and development. But of course, that's not all of the picture when you're a new coach. All of a sudden, people want to be able to sell you, like websites and marketing funnels and this, that, and the other. And it's a lot. And I get it. And I'm really, really grateful to the members of our collective who sort of shared that with us. It's a lot. It's very, very overwhelming. So what do we do with that stuff, Rebecca? Because that's a competing priority alongside our professional development.
And we were speaking about this at the event, weren't we? And I was explaining to people about like the technology that goes behind all of the adverts that get thrown around in our faces and all the social media platforms. And sometimes you don't know what you don't know, and you don't know what other people don't know. So they were like, "Oh, really?" And I said, "Yeah." So we get trapped into people's funnels as a marketing term. We get tagged because people know that we have an interest in something that we've seen on YouTube or that we've watched for a minute over on Facebook. And so for me, what I did, and I still do, Sarah, and a big tip actually, I have an email address that I enter. So this is a tip for those coaches that want to try it out. And it's an email address that I enter if I want to, have access to like something like a freebie or something that someone has promoted, but I don't want to be bombarded in my email box with loads of promotional things. And that helps me to quieten the noise in my own personal email box. And I can dip in and out to the other one if and when I choose to. So that's one thing I tend to do. I also tend to curate my social media as well. So I tend to cross off things that I'm not interested in or don't like, and also turn off or reduce notifications in specific groups. But I think if you're in that stage where you're feeling quite overwhelmed with everything that's being put in front of you, and you're not too sure whether to invest or not, I would go back to my initial advice. Is it something that you need right now? Explore, like, what is it that sparked your interest, your curiosity? Is it something that you need to invest in, or is it something that you can do to research behind the scenes that you might not need to have to go down that extra level to financially invest in it? And also just know your own abilities. When we're starting out as coaches, we can feel quite insecure in our practice because it's new, it's that newness. But just know that we continue to practice, we continue to learn, we continue to grow, we get more confident in our abilities. So yeah, the tech side can be quite overwhelming, can't it?
It definitely can. It definitely can. Yeah. So there's a lot to think about here, I think. I'm just going to kind of just sort of maybe tie up what we've spoken about. That we've talked about the fact that professional growth and personal development go hand in hand. They're part of the same thing. We've talked about the fact that there can be lots of demands, lots of sort of competing demands on our budgets for learning and growth and development. And actually, there's a lot that we can do ourselves, and there's a lot that we can do to support ourselves through the networks that we join and build. We do believe that professional development is so, so important. And yes, sometimes we need to invest in that. But as Rebecca's just said, we need to, just before jumping into something, take a step back and think, do I need this now? Is this the right time? And what's the return on investment? Like, where is this going to take me in the long term, so that when we make decisions, it can be a sort of informed and strategic decision, as opposed to a knee-jerk reaction because maybe we're feeling insecure and we're feeling vulnerable. So
I'm just going to, interrupt you there, Sarah. Sorry, politely. I've just noticed that it's not showcasing some of the comments over on the platform. So I just want to read this out.
Okay.
In terms of Daniela saying, yes, personal helps growth professionally as well. For her, it's a no for now. So I like that one because I used to use that one a lot. It's a no for now.
It's a no for now. It doesn't mean forever. That's a great phrase, Daniela. Thank you for sharing that. And I just, before we wrap up, want to shout out to We Are Made Within. Thank you for being here. And also Denise Mortimer, thank you for being here with us as well. So with all of that said, we have an invitation for you, which doesn't cost any money, but will help you with your personal and your professional growth. And that is our free listening supervision experiences for coaches called Listening Partnerships. This is based on Nancy Klein's work in Time to Think. We're offering these once a month to anybody who's a coach, coach in training, or if you use coaching skills in your business or in your work. The next one that's coming up is 10 days from now, so Thursday, the 27th of July from 11 till 12. So if you'd like to join us for that, you'd be most welcome. And the link to join that is, if you're an Insta, go to the Coaching Catalyst bio and you'll find a link to it. And it's here on the screen if you're joining us on StreamYard. And the link is bit.ly/supervision experience. Now, head teacher chat, I see that you have just joined us on Insta as well. That experience is absolutely relevant to head teachers, to leaders in education as well. That opportunity to have time to think and have time to speak and be listened to without interruption is super, super important for you also. So do feel free to join us. Right, we're at 22 minutes. I think it's time for us to stop talking and wrap up.
So we will see you this time next week, and we hope that you have a lovely week. Take care.
Thanks for joining, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.